We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric. You can find me at Eric Talkstros. I don't know why you did that. Brett, where can they find you at? Just go with it.
Okay, you can find me at H-Town Wheelhouse and at Stros411 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Always positive, always Stros. And hey, I just sent out some stickers to some people that listen to our podcast and that follow Stros411. We put up our tree, and I had them find the baseball ornament, and 3 people found it like really quick. So just a shout out to them. I'll mention them by their Twitter handle later on.
Alrighty, so we've got a lot to talk about tonight. When I say a lot to talk about, it's off season and not much to talk about. But there is some interesting news about a draft league, which is going to be pretty interesting. And I know that we also have some idea of where George Springer may be going, but I don't think anybody really knows at this point. And then we could also talk a little bit about Lance Lynn. And Lance Lynn would love to come join the Astros because they really roughed him up this year. We'll talk about that later on this episode of the Locked On Astros podcast. Don't forget, you can get Locked On Astros on podcasting app Himalaya, Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen to your music. Just listen to the Locked On Astros podcast daily. All right, Brett. So, David of he's the beat writer for the Jays, basically came out and said that Springer and the Jays have progressed beyond just talking. And we know that MLB trade rumors predicted that it would be about 5 years, 125 million. So do you buy that the Jays are looking at throwing all their money at George Springer?
I mean, I do. I mean, why wouldn't you want to add a premier leadoff hitter in a lineup with Vlad Guerrero Jr., Bo Bichette, Lourdes Gurriel Jr., Kevin Biggio? You know, you've got a great offensive lineup. Those are young players, and although they have a season or two under their belt, they're very young players. And George Springer would bring such a veteran presence. He would, I think, take over as the clubhouse leader on that ball club. The Blue Jays are looking at everyone. They're looking at Colton Wong. They're also looking at Real Muto. They're looking. I mean, they are looking to add veterans to their ball club, and they need veterans. I think Springer right now, if you were to tell me to put the odds on whether it's the Mets, the Blue Jays, the Red Sox, or the Astros, I would say Blue Jays are number one. I mean, I would say Mets are number one, actually. Blue Jays are number two, then Red Sox, and then Astros. But the Blue Jays have the money, they have the interest, and if they're going to give them the most money, I don't know why Springer wouldn't go. It's not too far from Connecticut, where he's from.
Yes, I know that. And in honor of our Halloween episodes, I have my nerds again.
You're still, dude. We passed Thanksgiving.
I
We're
know.
almost at Christmas.
I have
Do
this
you
whole
realize that
bag full of
Christmas decorate?
candy at school, and
Dude, do you realize Christmas decorations were up at right as or before Halloween decorations, like at Hobby Lobby? I had to go there. I was getting some stuff like picture frames to hang stuff in my sports room, or like a picture framing kit or something, and I'm not picture hanging kit. And it wasn't even Halloween yet, and they were already putting Christmas stuff up. So
yeah.
yeah, hey, I get it. It's okay.
Alrighty, so we went off on a little tangent there, but that's okay. So I still think that the Mets are. I like the way I saw somebody on Twitter say he could be the king of queens, and that's what he could be out there because he would make that team so much better. But I know there's a lot more. I know that they have the new owner, Steve Cohen, and I know I was listening to the Edge podcast, and he's an investment banker or something like that. He would definitely make the investment in George Springer to bring him to play at the Mets. So I really think that he's going to not be outbid. This is maybe not the number one free agent out there, but I think George Springer will be going there. So we'll have to see.
Hey, this is interesting. So I was literally pulling up MLB traderumors.com, and they have an RSS feed or a Twitter feed. And when you go to the Astros Twitter feed, Actually, all of their Twitter feeds are suspended by Twitter for violating some rule. I'm like, whoa, MLB Trade Rumors is blocked by Twitter. That's interesting. Anyways, I've got a question for you. I know we mentioned Lance Lynn, but he's not the only guy out there that I think is an option to look at. Do you know the name? Um, a guy with the last
Cy
name
Sneed.
Urena. No, Yukon Cornelius went to Tokyo, dude. I'm sorry. But the Marlins released Jose Urena, and not Uranus, Jose Urena. He in 2017 was like 14-7 or something like that,
Yeah, I
something
remember that
crazy.
season.
What do you think about someone like that not being a starter but being a reliever? I don't know what his market value is. I'm just throwing spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. Lance Lynn, I don't know. Does he come in if he comes in if he makes it on this team? Would he be the fifth starter? If he did that, does that mean you're making one of your young guys a long reliever? Where does Lance Lynn or someone like Jose Urena, someone who comes in that's a starter role, do they come in and become a starter, or do you put them in as a bullpen option?
Lance Lynn is still a legit pitcher. I know last year I'm trying to find his actual stats. Last year he had a 6-3 record with 3.33 ERA. He had
Hmm.
89 strikeouts in 84 innings, and I believe that he led the leagues in, at least American League, in innings pitched, batters faced, and so much more because he was the most durable guy out there. So in a 60-game season, for him to have a 2.2 WAR, that's pretty darn good. The only reason why he was not a candidate for Cy Young was because of the Houston Astros. And let me scroll back down here. There it is. So versus the Astros, he was 0-2 with 11.57 ERA. He allowed, where is it, 5 homers in 11 and 2/3 innings. He had 12 strikeouts in those 11 innings and allowed 16 runs. 16
Wow.
runs.
So half of his so he allowed 13 home runs overall in 2020. So almost half of those were against the Astros. But if you look back to 2019, he threw more innings in 2019 than he did in his best years, 2013 and 2014. He threw 208 innings. He had a 3.67 ERA. He was 16-11. Part of that's because he played for the Rangers, but he had 246 strikeouts. He had career highs in pretty much every category that year, Eric. Now, he gave up more hits than he'd ever given up, but he also pitched more innings. Um, I think Lance Lynn would be an interesting budget arm to get, but does that take away someone? I mean, would you rather put a veteran who's got good stuff in the regular season in that fifth spot rather than a young guy that's trying to still prove himself?
No, I think the Astros are going to go the way they are going to go. The only reason they would get Lance Lynn is because he could be your don't hate me for saying this, but the Justin Verlander replacement, just that veteran guy out there. He's not going to replace Justin Verlander, but you know what I mean. He's that just somebody to replace him for the 2021 season. But I just don't see the Astros going out and spending money on a pitcher. I mean, I know we're short Justin Verlander, but still, you're not going to go out there and throw. He was supposed to make about 10 million in 2021. Would he get that much this year? I don't know. The Rangers just they designate they don't know they non-tendered him. So I think if that's what happened, I forgot what happened, but so I don't see them throwing 10 million at Lance Lynn if you want them to go out and spend 12 million or 15 million for a closer or outfielder or something like that.
Well, so he made his market value is basically 8 million for 2021 is basically what you're looking at paying him. You know, he was supposed to be getting paid by the Rangers this year because he had a 3-year $30 million contract. And so Lance Lynn, I think, would be an interesting guy to bring in. But do we need relief pitching more than we need another starter?
Yes, because relief pitching is a different animal, and you need somebody to maybe have some closing experience. We could talk about that in further show, but you just want them to know how to work out a bullpen and what to eat when they work out of the bullpen. So what
Hmm,
could they eat?
dude, they can eat a Built Bar. Let me tell you about these Built Bars. We just got ours in. We got white chocolate cookies and cream. It was a Black Friday special, and I haven't tried it yet, but I'm so excited. It came with two free, um, like candy bar. It was like candy cane chocolate or something. I don't know, some crazy Christmas flavor. The great thing about Built Bar, it's under 200 calories, all the bars, 17 to 19 grams of protein per bar, about four net carbs, and it doesn't have a ton of sugar in it, maybe 4 grams of sugar, and it's great. I had one before working out today. I had the maple pecan. It is a phenomenal flavor. I would say go to builtbar.com right now. Use a promo code locked on to get 20% off your first box. But don't just order one box, order two boxes. Share it with a friend. When you order the box, they'll send you a coupon for another 20% off if you use that coupon. It's got a special code. And so the savings keep getting piled up. The new flavors keep coming into the mix. And as the holidays get here, Built Bar will have more and more to offer. So go to builtbar.com, use the promo code locked on for 20% off your next box.
There's some people out there that don't believe that you eat a lot of Built Bars, but I want to tell y'all guys that Brett does eat the Built Bars, and he orders more, and he goes to the gym and all this stuff, and he does eat it. He It's amazing that he eats it so much. So anyway, let's not get sidetracked
I
again.
have two a day.
Today, okay, all right.
Sometimes, yeah.
So let's go and move on to the biggest news of the day, and I guess that would be more of the what baseball decided to do with the draft league. And that sounds weird, but there's gonna be like 5 to 6 teams, and they're mostly gonna be made up of draft prospects. That includes college kids, and from what I was reading, tell me if I'm wrong, high school kids as well. And these are all
Mhm.
kids who are eligible for the 2021 draft. Remember, it was moved back. So this will be a 68 game schedule. This will take place in some of the vacated minor league parks like the Trenton Thunder. They'll have a team. And so they're planning on doing a 30 team something. And there's just so much up in the air right now. But basically, this is a Cape Cod league for the major leaguers. This is a select ball. This is like they want all the top prospects to come play in this league, and that way you can see them develop, and you can see like there's so much like especially with the junior college people and maybe the people across the country, you can't really get out to see everybody. I mean, if you have a big scouting department, yes, but the Astros, I don't know how big their scouting department is anymore, but this is a one-stop shop for major league scouts to go look at some of the potential minor league talent. So what do you think about this whole idea, and what did I miss?
Well, I think the key thing here is this is a way for them to, you had mentioned the Trenton Thunder, a way for them to go to some minor league ballparks that have might be losing teams and maybe a concession to them. You would hope that something like this would be expanded beyond six or eight teams, but of course, with them limiting the draft and how many rounds there are, they don't have a million players to pick from or to throw into this league. One of the things I do like is they will have access, unfettered access to MLB scouts, to MLB analytics, to advanced training that they wouldn't normally have if they were just out there at their own training facility. Um, the 16 league will have basically 30-man rosters. Depending on how it progresses, they will add additional teams. Um, the MLB draft has never been or seen as an event on par with like any NBA or the NFL, but with something like this drawing up interest, you'll get to see these players live. You won't just get to look at the tape of like Tolkerson and all those guys that were taken this year. You'll get to watch them play. If you live in those cities, you'll get to go see them play. It's just, I think, a really good thing for MLB. Eric, it's going to help them market to younger players, market to a new fan base, people that wouldn't normally watch, because a lot of people like amateur sports better than like professional sports.
And these players will not be paid because I don't think they're allowed to until they get drafted. And so I think that you're looking at, I mean, they may pay for their stay, like their maybe equipment and staying
Like
somewhere.
kind of like room and board kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, my thing is this. I mean, so there's a local guy, and I need to bring him on sometime. A guy named Corey Segaleski. He's actually from one of the local high schools, and he's in he's on the Rays radar, and he's hoping this next year that he makes a club, he makes one of their minor league teams, and he's working and grinding. I know someone like that would jump at the opportunity to do this even without the pay. So for these younger guys, it's not about the pay, it's about making it to the show. And if this increases their chances, I don't see why they wouldn't do that.
But from what I understand, this is the best of the best. This is not the guys trying to walk on. This is them like
Well,
the
no,
first,
yeah, I get
second,
it.
third, fourth round draft picks that are
It's like a
just,
pre-tryout.
yeah,
It's like a tryout for a
it's a
try. It's
combine. It's
in and
a
here's the
very long
thing.
combine.
Well, it may solidify their value. It may up their value, Eric. I mean, if
But
you're going against
what happens
what?
if they get injured?
See, okay, I hate that
Uh,
question. Okay,
what happens if they
here's
get
the thing.
injured? What if
No,
no?
okay,
Okay, okay. Brett
20 or
Chancey is out there. He could be a second round pick, and this is before the draft. And all of a sudden, he throws his elbow out. He tears his UCL, and he has to have Tommy John surgery. That's going to make
so
his draft stock fall. Granted,
yeah,
I know that they're in a regular
but I
draft.
go to
They're playing in the World Series and the college World Series and everything. But
okay. Let me follow. So because there's a chance that I might get in a wreck, I shouldn't go to work, because most wrecks happen within 10 miles of your house. And I actually work within 10 miles of my house. It's kind of the same philosophy. Here's the thing. I think the whole like college athletes not playing in their final college games, or not playing in bowl games and doing all this stuff because they might get injured, I think is like that's crap. Like, you play, and you know what? Injuries are a part of the game. I really don't think that you're going to see home plate collisions. I really don't think you're going to see a lot of that. And I mean, things are going to happen, Eric. I mean, if these guys are prone to injury, it's going to happen in their first year of the minors, or it's going to happen when they get in the majors. I
right.
get what you're saying, but at the end of the day, for me personally, and people probably agree with you on this, and they probably agree with me. Other people may agree with what I'm saying, but I've always hated that argument. What if they get injured? Well, then why don't they just not play? How about they sit in their house and wrap themselves in bubble
Yeah,
wrap and be 2020 kids,
there's nothing wrong
and
with that.
just be like, hey, it's I9 Sports, and we, fun, fair, positive soccer, and everybody scores and everybody gets a trophy. And, you know, anyways, I digress, because that kind of stuff. Yeah, wrap it up. Yeah, I'll wrap them in bubble tape if they're worried about getting injured.
No, I know what you're
Anyways,
saying, but I think
yeah,
this will be a good way to kind of get to see the talent and get to see how they face, not just facing the watered down college talent. I'm not saying that in a bad way, but just being
watered down college town.
I'm not
Good
saying that in a
Lord.
bad way. I'm just saying like you get to have them face the best of the best.
This is
Or-
Eric. This is Eric, former college player.
No,
He's like watered
former
down
high
college.
school player.
See, well,
uh,
hey, you got that on me. Didn't you play high school baseball?
Yeah, for 1 year or so, and
Okay.
then
See, I didn't
my
even play high
coach.
school.
If anybody knew the old Westbury coach, I remember one time he's like, um, "This is in front of everybody." He's like, "Oh, I." He was chewing tobacco at the time, so he's like, "Oh, I wish all you guys were like Eric. He sucks, but at least he cares." And
Wow, I think I remember
I'm
you
like,
telling me that
I'm
now.
like, "Oh, geez, thanks, coach. I'm gonna go back to tennis. All right, bye." So, but
Yeah,
anyway,
and
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I actually remember. Oh, hey, I was going to ask you this. Yasiel Puig kind of got floated there for about 24 hours as a possibility
No.
with the Astros. I think that's a horrible
Yes.
idea.
No.
Why would you want this guy on the team? It was like his arm combined with this, and I'm like, whatever. And they're like, oh, but he looks the bat and he's so polarized. And I'm like, okay, those are two reasons not to sign a guy. And
If
is he just going to
anything,
walk away from the team?
um, I don't know. I think that his value, his market's very low because he missed the entire 2020 season. I know it's only 60 games, but I don't know. For the right money, yes, I would bring him on. I mean, we had Carlos Gomez on our team. Why not Yasiel Puig? And
Yeah,
then
why
next
not?
year we're gonna have Trevor Bauer, and then who else? The year after that we're gonna have who's that guy that hated the Kyle Hendricks, the A's closer. So
The
we're
guy
gonna
from
have all the
Australia.
annoying Astros haters on.
He's like,
But
he's like, put another shrimp on the barbie.
alrighty. So
Sorry.
speaking of adding players to the roster, we do know that the Astros have to make some moves. So there are going to be some more people on the 40-man roster probably getting axed sometime soon. Taylor Jones, he's one of those guys that we talked about during playoffs. What role does he have on this team? I mean, there's not much room for him unless he plays
Yeah.
the outfield. But
I mean,
he
that's the thing because right now in the outfield, I have no clue what they're doing with Brantley. I hear the Blue Jays are going after Brantley as much as they're going after Springer. But I've also the only
and Bradley, they're going after Bradley too. If
yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. But like I think you're going after if you're going after Springer and Bradley, you're going after Bradley because you don't think Springer comes through. Or you hope that if Springer signs somewhere else, because you don't
they're the
bring on
best
both of
two
those guys.
defenders in the outfield
But
available.
you don't I know, but you don't bring them both on.
No,
Right. So
they
but
both were
so,
center
I mean,
fielders.
well, hey, here's an interesting thing, and we haven't really talked about this much, and we can just kind of hit on it, just kind of skim the surface. But the Phillies, the Phillies announced that they weren't going to sign JT Realmuto. They lost like a ton of money, like $150 million. And from what I'm hearing, the Yankees actually lost the most money out of all the clubs. And so them signing, if they sign DJ LeMahieu, that's going to put them over the luxury threshold for that
Come
whatever
to Houston,
ungodly
DJ.
tax. Yeah, but where's he gonna play?
Yeah. So another person that this is all from Jake Kaplan's article on the Athletic, but he also said another trade candidate is Senel Perez. This is a guy that can't seem to catch a break with the Astros, and especially after he
Or a
was,
win?
yeah, the first time he was not signed, then he was re-signed and all that, and then Abraham Toro's another one, but I think Toro will stay just because he can play third base and he's another one of those options. So we'll have to see who's goes the way to the dodo for the Astros. So like
What is the dodo? Is that like a movie?
I don't know,
The
but Sice
You're
need
cracking me up tonight.
he's going to Tokyo, and probably all we're going to get back is some. Oh, I used to know. Is it yen? Is that the money in Japan? Uh,
Is it the Japan dude? I think it's the Japanese yen. Come on, man. Why are
well,
you
I was
quizzing me
right.
on
I said
world
yen. Okay,
currencies?
so
Okay,
anyway, but
I
we'll
thought
be
it was the
getting some.
Chinese yen.
Okay, we'll be getting probably some money back from the team that signed him. But anyway, I
So
think we've kind of rambled on enough. What's up?
before we go, I want you to tell me where you think George Springer is going to go right now. You got to tell me
Mets.
5 seconds. Mets. Okay, that was easy. Yeah, me too. Me too. That's my number one spot. The Mets.
Yeah, mean, as much as I would like to see him go play and with the Blue Jays, I think that with that team and the excitement on that team already, just imagine adding George Springer to that clubhouse. That would be pretty rocking. But I still think the Mets are going to go above and beyond to get him. I think he is their number one guy.
Did you
How's
did you
how's
see my? Yes, I know he is my number one guy. Sorry, that was from Batman, right?
Yes.
All right. So tell me one last question for the fans, because I put a poll out there and I wanted to get your take on it. 'Cause I don't know if you vote. I don't know if you actually voted by polls or not, but not a ton
You
of
have a
people
Twitter
do, so they're
handle?
not very popular. Shut up. Um, so out of these four, who do you think becomes our center fielder? And don't answer before I'm done saying who it is. Jackie Bradley Jr., Miles Straw, Jake Marisnick, or Kevin Pillar?
We're in Houston, Miles Straw. No, my real answer would probably be Jackie Bradley Jr. I think that they're going to go out and get him. And if they miss on him, they'll bring back Brantley and just go with Miles Straw. All
There
right.
you go.
All right.
All right,
On the
dude.
next show, we'll go ahead and talk about any of the local rumors or the non-local rumors or anything else on the Locked On Astros podcast. And don't forget, go check out the Locked On MLB podcast. Our friend Soli always does a great job over there, and we will talk to you later.